What's going on, everybody? I am your host, Eric Rivera, and this is Real Madrid Hub, your source on YouTube for all things Real Madrid news. Well, I've seen some comments in the YouTube section here, and people were asking, whether the voice changed and who's speaking and who's not, or where I've been, whatever. So just to be clear, once again, we have two people on this channel, which is J Real Madrid, who's my good friend J Real Madrid, who has two channels actually, or three channels really, which is J Real Madrid and Dr. J, and those two channels cover all the news from Real Madrid in Spanish. And then he created this channel, which was Real Madrid Hub, and that is about all the news from Real Madrid in English, and I joined on to help him out with videos here and there. But then when we're in a regular season, what I was thinking about doing is probably doing a Friday recap, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes, where you see me here in front of the camera, talking about all the things that have been going on with Real Madrid that week. So with that said, let me know in the comments if that's something that interests you. That would be every Friday, in addition to some of the videos that we'll be posting. Jota is doing a great job posting a bunch of videos during the week with a lot of news coming from all the big sources in Spain. Obviously, some of the sources, it's not fake news. It's just a lot of sources have information that, is coming from one side or is coming from the other. So it's always a process about finding out which news is the real one, or which news, not that it's fake, but which news is the most accurate, So we talk a lot about a lot of things, obviously, and he posts a lot of things coming from different sources. The biggest sources in Spain, which are Diario AS, Diario Madridista, Marca, etc., El Chiringuito. So what we do is our best to deliver the news to you in the most quick way possible, and Jota is on top of it all the time, and I'll chime in every once in a while, but I want to do a video every Friday, which is kind of a recap of everything that has been going on during the week. And what a better week to do it today, which is today, because of the crazy week we've had. And obviously, I think it's been three sort of big things that are talking, one is major, two major developments, I would say, and one which is just kind of, good news. But I would say the story that everyone's talking about right now is definitely, of course, the visit of Mino Raiola, who is Erling Braut Haaland's agent, and Erling Braut Haaland's father, to Barcelona. This week, he went and visited La Porta in Barcelona. And of course, that set all the alarm bells ringing, with culés talking about how Erling Braut Haaland was going to go to Barcelona. And of course, for Madridistas, they thought that, of course, Barcelona was going to take Haaland away from us, right from under our noses. However, then everybody calmed down, and cooler heads prevailed, as they say, as Mino Raiola and Erling Braut Haaland's dad then after went to Real Madrid and basically took a look around at Valdebebas and met with staff from Real Madrid. And in this case, it was Jose Angel Sanchez, not Florentino. From all the information we've gathered, they took a look at the training facilities there. They were really interested in seeing Valdebebas, at least Erling Braut Haaland's dad was. And of course, from what we've heard, no financials were really discussed, as it is reported that Florentino does not want to run afoul with Dortmund, as Dortmund and Real Madrid have a good relationship. So any negotiations would be done with the president of Dortmund, and that is how things are going. So of course, this leads to a lot of speculation, because really, I think we're, as the saying goes, especially in football, there's a lot of rumors that fly around. But I am a firm believer in, we're never going to know where a player is really going until he finally signs a contract and we see a picture of him holding up a jersey, basically saying, I am now part of the club. But we do know from all the information that we've received and all the information that's out there is that Haaland is a fan of Real Madrid and is very interested in coming to Real Madrid. We know that he apparently, we've seen it in Chiringuito. They looked at his social media accounts that he's not following any players from Barcelona. He's following players from Real Madrid. He seems to follow them very closely. Things that Sergio Ramos has posted, he's liked them. So he's very active and has been very active, an active fan of Real Madrid. So we don't know. Maybe that is an indication of where he wants to go, but at the end of the day, it's going to matter if we can afford him. And of course, the other news that came out was that Mbappé, who is another target, the other wonder kid that everyone's talking about and all the big clubs are looking at, Mbappé is essentially, seems like he is fed up with Paris. He is fed up with the media in France sort of criticizing him, and just everything that's going on in France when it comes to French players, I guess, playing in the French league. And he felt that, he was kind of unfairly criticized a lot of times. So he was kind of fed up with that, with being there. And it really seems that, he wants to go somewhere else, as he has again rejected any renewal with PSG. And PSG, fearing that they are going to lose Mbappé, do not, of course, want to let him go for free, have actually reportedly reduced the price for Mbappé, I believe to 150 million euros, which was something, or 120 million euros, which now makes everything a little bit more interesting. Who is going to go after Mbappé? Who is going to go after Haaland? Will they both end up at Real Madrid, as they're saying that Florentino really wants to once again sort of revive this Galactico era that he, once had? Will he go for them? There are a lot of players that are on the chopping block. And who do you prefer? That's the one thing a lot of people are always talking about. And one thing that we always ask is, who would you rather have at Real Madrid? Would you have Mbappé? Would you have Haaland? Of course, a lot of us would say we want both of them. But let me tell you something. I was actually, before I did this video, I was looking at a little video that Deutsche Welle put together on YouTube. You guys should check it out, about Erling Braut Haaland and how he started his career. Basically, starting at, I believe the name of the club was Brünn. Then he went to Molde. Then he went to Salzburg, and then ended up in Dortmund. But it seems very much so, that Haaland, there's a lot of things that I keep on liking about this kid. Definitely a lot of people had seen his talent since he was a young kid, and it seems like he has continued to be a hard worker and showcasing that talent no matter where he went, whether it was beginning in Brünn when he was a kid, then going to Molde, and then going to Salzburg, and then showcasing goals in Salzburg, showcasing goals with his national team or his youth team, showcasing goals with Dortmund, and not only doing it in their leagues, in his respective league, but of course doing it in the Champions League as well. So he is, at this point, continues to showcase that he's a prolific goal scorer, and which is why a lot of people like him. And I don't know if you guys would agree with me or disagree, so let me know in the comments. But looking at things with Haaland, I feel like he is very much similar to Cristiano Ronaldo, in my opinion. Not in the way he plays, but in his attitude. It seems like he very much has a never say die attitude, a very competitive attitude. He gets angry when the team is losing. He gets even angry. One thing that I like to see too was he gets angry even when he's scored goals for his team, but the team doesn't end up winning. It's still very important to him to win as a team. It's very important for him to obviously score. He's always looking to play well. But then also the other thing is it seems like he has a very, he has the bug of loyalty in him, and he's very much protects his teammates, or even goes after people who pick on his teammates. Even if he's across the field, he'll run across the field to defend his teammates if he sees some sort of bust up in the middle of the pitch. So that's one thing that I've liked a lot about him. I like his attitude, and I kind of said that before. And, obviously I like both players. I definitely like Mbappé, and I definitely like Haaland. I think they're both incredibly talented. But it remains to be seen what's going to happen. It remains to be seen where these guys are going to go, because right now it seems that there is a lot of news going on with both of these guys. Mino Raiola is making his rounds. He's going to go all the big clubs with Haaland's father, basically picking and choosing or trying to figure out where they really want to take Haaland. And Mbappé is currently in a mode where he is not happy at PSG, and it seems like, wants to go somewhere else. And if PSG does drop his price, it's going to be interesting to see who else is going to join in that battle. So we will see what happens there. The other news that happened this week is definitely the news, unfortunately, about Sergio Ramos and what happened with his injury. And that's one thing that, there's a lot of questions. There's a lot of accusations, criticisms, because of the fact that, he got injured. He's had a knee issue. He came back from surgery. And then all of a sudden, he's starting to get back onto the team. He's working his way back onto the team in Real Madrid. Then the international break comes. And what happens is that he gets injured in the international break against essentially playing 45 minutes in a game against Greece. And then he only plays about 9 minutes in a game versus Kosovo. And it is essentially after the game against Kosovo, he goes out on the pitch to do a little bit of stretching and maybe just, some warm-ups or something to stay loose, or some cool down to stay loose or whatever. And that's where he gets injured. So I have to agree with my good friend Jota on this, who had, he spoke about this a little bit earlier in the week. And he was talking about how international breaks drive him crazy. And I don't think he's alone in that, especially because it seems to me with somebody like Sergio Ramos, you would want to see, and this is one side of the criticism, you would want to see maybe Real Madrid speak with the federation, with the selección, with the national team, and try to figure out maybe which games are more important or absolutely important for them to play in, because not to say that, not to belittle, the teams like Gibraltar or Kosovo or any of those teams. But these are teams that essentially are not the biggest fish in the pond, of course, and they are teams that have never qualified for the World Cup. They are, I wouldn't say they're pushovers, but they are teams that, with as deep the team that Spain has, I'm pretty sure that they can face teams like Kosovo, teams like Gibraltar, maybe even, Greece as it is right now. They can play them without somebody like Sergio Ramos, without, a major star like him, and go with some of the youth players that are looking promising for Spain. So it's really interesting. I mean, there should be, an agreement. Obviously, if it's a team like Germany, if it's a team like France, and you're talking about World Cup qualifiers, then I would completely understand that, the national team would want their best players to play. But if it's smaller teams that they could most likely on paper, they're going to get by them fairly easily, then why bring and why risk some of your biggest players? And I'm talking about why, as Real Madrid, why would you want to risk those players? Why would you allow that to happen? There has to be some sort of agreement, because there's no use in getting injured against, a team like that, when essentially right now, the moment that's coming up, the next few games that are coming up, are the most important games of the season for Real Madrid, not only to continue fighting in La Liga, but to continue fighting in the Champions League. And now we are without our best, with our center back, with our captain. And I don't think it's a debate with the best center back in the world. We are without him because of 9 minutes on a game versus Kosovo, 45 minutes against Greece, and for what? And there you also have to ask the question: was it the fault of the national team? Was it the fault of Real Madrid for not making it clear to Sergio Ramos that maybe don't go to this call up? But we're also, Sergio Ramos didn't play against Celta de Vigo because he wanted to go to the national team. And essentially, from what we're hearing, it's because he wanted to chase a record of most appearances with the Spanish national team. And really, that's where it kind of irks a lot of Madridistas, is why is it so necessary to go for that accolade that you probably could have broken that record at some other point down the line in World Cup qualifiers? Why would you do it at this moment especially when, these important games are coming up? As much as I love Sergio Ramos, and you guys can see I am not a hater of Sergio Ramos. I am an absolute fan of the guy. I have his jersey behind me. I have his poster on the wall, but it just kind of bothers me. And it seems to me like it's almost like he's trying to make excuses or trying to do things sort of out of spite in order to stick it to Real Madrid because he is not getting what he wants in the renewal. Whether it's, I'm not saying he's deliberately getting injured, but it's kind of doing things like putting himself in those situations, not wanting to play with Celta de Vigo. not wanting to play against Celta, and essentially going out and playing against teams like Kosovo and going to the call-up when he could have avoided it and said, no, I want to focus 100% on the next few games for Real Madrid. Who knows? I don't know. And also at the same time, I kind of feel like you can't really tell a player not to play for the national team when he's called up, when we know that for many of these players, for many professional players, being called up for their national team, and especially during World Cup qualifiers, to fight to go to the World Cup is an absolute honor for them. However, there is that business side of things where you are with a club and the club is the one that pays you. And essentially, if you get hurt, it's a huge issue for the club. So I don't know what you guys think about that, but please, drop me a line here in the comments. Let me know what you think about that. We'd like to hear from you. So the last bit of news is obviously Eden Hazard is, from what we're hearing, his evolution and his recovery is going very quickly, and it seems like he could be back for the second tie of the Champions League games against Liverpool, which would be interesting. But during the press conference today, before the game against Eibar tomorrow, Zidane said that there essentially is no plan. When he was asked what is the plan with Hazard, he essentially said there is no plan to bring Hazard back. They do not want to rush him. And I agree with him. Why would you want to rush him? However, I do feel that psychologically right now, Hazard is in a good place, because they went from essentially feeling like he was so badly injured that he was going to need surgery again, to now realizing that no, he doesn't need surgery, and that all of these doctors have come to the consensus that what he needs to do is work on strength and conditioning for his core, for his abs, to build strength in his knees, to build strength in his legs, in order to avoid continuing to injure that ankle. And that is some pretty good news. What it means for Hazard is that he has to get back to work, is that he has to stop, this whole idea, like I mentioned in my last video that I did for Real Madrid Hub, where, we know that Hazard has a reputation of not being a hard worker when it comes to training, but right now he's not getting any younger. When you get older, you have to make sure you're staying in shape. Injuries take longer to heal as you get older, and he really has to change his mindset if he wants to continue playing at Madrid and does not want to get injured, and finally shows us what we all want to see, which is the Hazard that was at Chelsea, which is the talent that we know he has, and the talent that so many people have said he possesses, but that unfortunately also is a little bit lazy. So you can't do that at Real Madrid, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to be on him and making sure that he is training, making sure that he is in shape, and making sure that he is strong enough to get back to the pitch. So I don't think there's a need to rush him at this point, but we will see how it goes, because at the end of the day, it's going to be about, how well are we doing in the Champions League, after the first tie against Liverpool, or, what's going to be the result of that, and whether or not we have to push these players. But the good thing is, Kroos is back. He is on the list against Eibar, so he should be able to play against Liverpool. I don't know how many minutes he's going to get tomorrow against Eibar, if any. He should get a few minutes, of course. But it looks like things are getting a little bit better on that front. Valverde is still, recovering, but is already training with the team. Carvajal is coming along, could be available for Liverpool. So in that sense, there is some good news there. But the biggest blow to us, of course, was the Sergio Ramos issue and all that drama, and then of course all the drama surrounding Haaland, Mbappé, and what's going to happen with those signings and whether or not he's really going to come here. But that's it. That's all I have for now, guys. Let me know if you are interested in these Friday recaps, as I call them. And please let me know. You can always follow my podcast at Inadamas Podcast. I am on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That is the handle, at Inadamas Podcast. Leave me a line. Ask me a question there. And then, of course, also check out my good friend Jota Real Madrid, his 2 pages in Spanish, Jota Real Madrid and Dr. Jota. And then, of course, subscribe here to Real Madrid Hub. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for listening, and I'll talk to you again soon.